Welcome to the 5% Club podcast, the space where ambitious leaders go to master their careers and their lives. I'm Shayla King, a former C-suite executive turned performance and happiness coach. And this is the podcast for leaders who want it all. The promotions, the paychecks, and luxurious amounts of time for what matters most. Each week, I'll teach you how to work less, make more, and design a life you love. Let's go. Welcome back to the 5% Club podcast. I'm Shayla King, your favorite executive presence and strategic energy coach. Let me ask you something and answer honestly in your head. Have you ever watched someone less qualified, less experienced, and definitely less capable than you get the promotion you wanted? And you thought, what am I missing? What did they do that I didn't? Here's the truth. The fastest rising leaders aren't always the most talented. They're the most strategic. They've learned things most high performers never get taught. Not in grad school, not in a leadership seminar, and certainly not in your annual review. These are the secrets to fast-tracking your career, and today I'm pulling back the curtain. This is one of the most personal topics for me because I had to learn it the hard way. During my corporate career, I got stuck in the busy badge trap. I had a leader tell me once that I get more done on my worst days than most people do on their best days. And let me tell you, although that was meant as a compliment, I used it in all the wrong ways for another decade of my career. I said I wanted to be like Will Smith. Have you ever heard of him? He's like, I may not be the smartest, but I'll outwork anyone. He's like, if I'm running against somebody on the treadmill next to me, I'll die before I quit, before that person quits. That's what I always thought was my special trick, was my work ethic. And I would outwork anyone. I was the go-to. I was the workhorse. We've all been or known the workhorse. I could solve anything, lead anyone, and outperform everyone. And I thought that would be enough. It wasn't. What I didn't realize then, but know deeply now, is that what gets you promoted to the middle is not what gets you promoted to the top. I've talked to you before about the tragedy of the high performer and how easy it is to get stuck in the middle when you are that workhorse. Because now I trust you so much for this level of projects. You always come through, and I want to keep you right there where I can use you for all of those high volume projects, right there where you can do the work of 2 or 3 of your peers, right there where you're always happy to help and I can throw more on your plate. Now that person gets put in a box that looks different than the person that I trust, that has capability, is strategic, and has capacity to be able to work on executive level work. Now, if you're in the middle and you want to get to that executive level and you want your life to be easier, that is what I'm going to teach you. When I became part of the executive hiring team, I sat in those closed door meetings. I finally saw why certain leaders moved up and why others that are often more capable stayed stuck. That insight became the foundation of what I now teach in the Performance and Happiness Lab. How to build the advanced career levers, executive presence, strategic relationships, and executive systems that catapult you into leadership roles you used to be overlooked for. Remember, our entire goal is to make you the next obvious choice. So let's break it down. First, executive presence is not a vibe. It's a strategy. There's this myth that executive presence is this X factor, something you're either born with or you're not. It's certain personalities. It's not true. Executive presence is built. It's how you command a room. It's how you hold silence. It's the thoughts that you are having in your head that make you approach a situation differently, that make you show up to these situations differently. It's how organized you are and how prepared you are before you get there. It's how you distill complex ideas into one powerful sentence. It's getting you out of that get energy, that proving energy. I'm leaning forward. I've got to talk next. I've got to show them that I'm smart and I'm capable so they'll choose me. It's getting you back to that certainty and knowing your value and knowing what you bring to the table so that you can focus on the business and you can focus on the topic at hand instead of focusing on your needs and what you want. And when we have that level of confidence, we're able to do that. When we have that level of confidence and we feel certain in our own situation and we have enoughness, then we no longer have that insecurity that's pulling at us, that's making us feel like we are trying too hard. We've all seen the tryhards in meetings, that desperation that leaks out sometimes very subtly. And what we want for you instead is to think like an executive, feel like an executive, and then you will naturally show up like an executive. And in the Performance and Happiness Lab, I teach you exactly how to make that transition. So you're not just in the meeting, you're leading the room, even when you're not the highest ranking person there. There's psychology behind it. Your brain is wired to seek certainty and hierarchy. So when you speak like someone who belongs at the top, people subconsciously categorize you that way. So I had a client who was the smartest person in the room, but she filled silences with over-explaining. She was trying to earn her seat every time she spoke and had that kind of proving energy. I always said I got that like from childhood. It's like the orphan Annie complex. Because when I was little, I did a lot of like competition and academic things, and I got praised for that. So then I kept wanting that kind of praise, and I had to prove myself by winning this and doing this and being smart here. In the boardroom, that turned into me trying to always impress people. When you are impressed with your own damn self, you get to calm down. When you have that true inner confidence, you don't have to prove it to those around you. And when you sink in to that, knowing that you're just fine where you are and knowing that you're not going to stay there, when you sink into that knowing that you are safe, the calmness comes across, the certainty comes across, and your capability comes across. So when my client was trying to earn her seat every time she spoke and filling those silences, it made her look junior, even though she was more qualified than half of her peers. So we worked together on owning the room. Fewer words, clear conviction, thoughtful pauses. 2 months later, her CEO told me that it was like she flipped a switch. She told me, everything just seems to clear out now. Whenever I have a conversation with the board or another executive team member, I can hone it down to the critical few things that need to be said and focus on just that. Executive presence isn't a vibe. It's a muscle. And most people never get trained on how to build it. But I got you. All right. Next, strategic relationships are your hidden lever. Let's get clear on this. You're not getting promoted based on your resume. You're getting promoted based on how people feel when they think of you. When someone in the C-suite says, "Who should lead this?" If your name isn't top of mind, the job's most likely already gone. That's the reality. And it's not personal. It's just how leadership decisions happen. So inside the PH Lab, we build your influence map, the 5 to 10 people who directly or indirectly control your next move. And here's where people get it wrong. They build relationships horizontally with peers. They stay in the comfort zone of being well-liked. But what you need is strategic exposure. Strategic exposure. You need to be known, trusted, and valued by people with power. So one of my clients kept getting passed over. He was qualified and experienced and liked by his team, but he was unknown to his execs. We created a visibility plan that included informal touch points, thought leadership moments, and a compelling elevator pitch for his goals. 4 months later, he was offered a stretch opportunity with no formal application process. Just one of those taps on the shoulders that we all hope for. This isn't about being fake. It's about being seen. It does not matter how good you are if people don't know who you are. Okay? And this is where most high performers sabotage their careers. They think more effort equals more recognition. They believe if they just keep their head down, someone will notice. They wait for the work to speak for itself. Listen, the work doesn't speak for itself. You speak for the work. You craft the story. You influence the perception. That's why one of our modules is specifically on executive storytelling. You've got to be able to tell the story about how you add value to the company, about what your team is working on, and the value that that team is working on as well, and how it all fits into the big picture. Crafting the story is extremely important and often overlooked. Most people say, I don't have time for that kind of stuff. I got to get the work done. And that is where you get stuck in middle management. You have to influence the perception. And it's not just something you magically figure out. It's learned, it's coached, it's practiced. And that's what we're going to do in the PH Lab. You're going to get to practice that story. You're going to get to share it with a group of supportive peers that will give you very honest feedback. And we'll be able to say, yeah, I still don't have any idea what you're talking about here, but that part was really good. Tell me more about this. I still have questions on that. You'll get a chance to role play your story with other executives that are not decision makers at your company. So you'll get brutally honest feedback in a very supportive way that helps you get ready for that next level. Because once you know how this works, everything changes. You stop being the best kept secret. You start being the obvious next choice. All right. So being busy is not the flex, being strategic is. And they can't promote you if they don't remember you. You don't need another credential. You need the right people thinking about you in the right way. You are not underperforming, you're under-leveraged. So let's do it. Our evolve work for the week. Here it is. You're going to build your influence map. I want you to make a list of 3 people in your direct leadership chain, 3 cross-functional leaders you want to be known by, and 3 external connections. They could be LinkedIn relationships, mentors, past execs you used to work with. Ask yourself, do they know what I want? Do they see me as ready? Do they know what makes me valuable? If not, that's exactly where you should start. You don't rise because you're the best. You rise because you're the most visible best. All right. The Performance and Happiness Lab is officially open. And this is your chance to join the 3-month experience where ambitious leaders become high-performing, happy executives without burnout. Inside the PH Lab, we're going to work exactly on what we talked about today. You're going to create a process for those key relationships. You're going to work on your storytelling and your executive presence, and you're going to get real chances to be able to present that story and get feedback from other executives who get it. Okay? Inside the PH Lab, you're going to master results, which includes career strategy, storytelling, and executive presence. We're going to include relationships, executive communication, high impact networks, and rituals where you get all the energy, joy, and time freedom. This is all backed by neuroscience and the 5% King mindset. Spots are limited. Enrollment closes July 1st or sooner if we sell out. Head to shaylaking.com/phlab and claim your seat before it's gone. And if today's episode hit home, leave us a 5-star review on your favorite platform and send this to another ambitious leader who's ready. All right, y'all. I'll see you next week. Until then, keep leading like the 5%, and I hope to see you in the lab. Thanks for joining me in the 5% Club today. If you're ready to work less, make more, and design a life you love, go to shaylaking.com to join the 5% Club waitlist. Each Monday, I'll send you something you can implement immediately, and you'll be the first to know when applications open for the Performance and Happiness Lab, my group training program designed to accelerate you into a happy, confident executive who loves their whole life. See you there.